We're only a few days removed from the Cowboys draft, and there's already fallout to discuss. We'll get to that in a second, but first, thanks for checking out today's video. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Also consider hitting subscribe and ring the bell. That way you're always notified when I post a new video. Today's video brought to you by betonline.ag. Run, don't walk to betonline.ag right now to see where they have the Cowboys in their futures odds at winning a Super Bowl. I love the value. I know it might sound crazy for the Cowboys right now to win a Super Bowl according to the betonline.ag odds. Go check it out at betonline.ag, your online sportsbook experts. So on Monday, we learned that the Cowboys were not going to be picking up Leighton Vander Esch's fifth-year option. Now, the main reason the Cowboys are not going to be picking up Leighton Vander Esch's fifth-year option is because they drafted his replacement, Micah Parsons, with the 10th overall pick. And if Jabril Cox ends up being as good of a player as he looks like he could be, looks like they could have drafted both Leighton Vander Esch's and Jaylon Smith's replacement, just a few years removed from these guys looking like absolute studs at the linebacker position. Such is the case in the NFL, where one year you can look amazing, and in subsequent years you could fall off a cliff. Now, when we look back at the Cowboys draft this weekend, they went heavy on defense, and they went heavy on athletes. They drafted a ton of guys with a lot of upside because of their length, because of their reach, or because of their pure athleticism. That was highlighted with their first pick, Micah Parsons, the linebacker out of Penn State. Now, I know a lot of Cowboys fans are upset by this pick, but here's the thing. I love Micah Parsons, okay? He's 6'3", he is an absolute beast getting downhill, and he ran a 4.39 40, okay? He's got great power, great speed, and this is a perfect modern linebacker for today's game. It's exactly what you want in today's game. A versatile, modern linebacker with the power to get downhill and the speed to cover. The issue that I have with the Cowboys taking Micah Parsons at 10 is not that they took Micah Parsons at 10 because I think he's going to be a really good player, and they may have ended up lucking into the better defensive player. It's that they clearly wanted J.C. Horn. I think the Cowboys were going to be drafting Horn over Surtain if they were both available, and as it turns out, surprisingly, neither of them were available. Now look, all indications are the Cowboys wanted to draft a corner and tried to move up to do so, but thought that the trade options available to them were too rich for their blood. Which is just something we're used to hearing for the Cowboys. They are not aggressive in any capacity whatsoever. They had 11 draft picks, the 11th which they acquired through trading down with the Eagles in order to pick up that extra third-round pick. But, I mean, they hoard draft picks like they're Gollum. Here's the thing. If he's your guy, go get him. You're drafting in the top 10. You don't want to be drafting in the top 10 often, so when you draft in the top 10 and you've got a guy that is your guy in that spot and you think he's slipping away, then make a trade to go get him. Because that's what aggressive teams do when they've identified who their guys are. In this case, the Cowboys clearly didn't. Now again, if to me the options are trade up to get a corner, or sit where you are, trade down, pick an extra third rounder, and go get Micah Parsons, I'm good with what they did. But if the Cowboys had their guy in tow in J.C. Horn and didn't make a move because it was too rich for their blood, it just perfectly exemplifies exactly what the Cowboys have been for the last 2+ decades. No urgency. None. Cowboys also got another linebacker, a really good cover linebacker, in Jabro Cox from LSU, who transferred from North Dakota State. This is a guy with great ball skills. Now, look, the Cowboys did end up with a corner in their second-round pick in Kelvin, the corner from Kentucky, who's really talented and seems to be fantastic in terms of coverage. But he does have some lapses at times, and it seems like he's the type of corner that you need to motivate from a competitiveness standpoint. Like, ask him to go shadow the opposition's best receiver, and he's a gamer. But sometimes it feels like he can just kind of get a little lackadaisical, lost the shuffle a little bit, where it's like, there's plays out there for to be made, and he's just not making them. I like Kelvin Joseph. I think he still needs to develop. So, again, you've got a young corner group now that needs to get older and experienced quickly. And even though Trayvon Diggs will have one more year of experience under his belt, he did miss a ton of time due to injuries last year. Cowboys' approach in the 2021 draft was volume. They ended up drafting 11 players. 8 of their 11 draft picks are on the defensive side of the football. So they are throwing numbers at the defensive side of the ball, hoping that one of these lotto tickets cashes in. A Nahshon Wright, Israel Mukuamu, some of these defensive tackles they've taken, they can end up hitting on one or a couple of those guys. At the end of the day, it is a volume game. Take more shots. Which brings me back full circle to Leighton Vander Esch. Because I always look at evaluating drafts as a whole on the credibility of those that are drafting. If you have a team that's consistently bad at drafting, then you're right to criticize picks and be weary of picks, especially guys like Nahshon Wright, who maybe didn't grade out very well from a lot of other draft evaluators. But for the Cowboys, their front office has done very, very well in the draft, especially in early rounds of the draft. So it's hard to be critical of some of these stretches the Cowboys have made because they've been so good at drafting, so much better than most other organizations. On the other hand, though, the Cowboys, with Leighton Vander Esch being the latest example of, have struggled to draft defensive players, especially difference-making defensive players early on in the draft. There's Leighton Vander Esch. Maybe he ends up being a really good pick, but at this point the jury's still out, and without picking up his fifth-year option, doesn't look great. There's the Taco Charlton disaster, which needs no explanation. There's Tristan Hill, who was a second-round pick and certainly looked better this past year, but didn't play much his rookie year, and the jury's still majorly out on him. Randy Gregory going back as a second-round pick. Jaylon Smith going back as a second-round pick. In the first and second rounds, the Cowboys have not done well recently in the draft on the defensive side of the football. The last impact player that they've drafted early on, first couple rounds on defense, was DeMarcus Lawrence. But since then, they've had a bunch of misses. The Cowboys have clearly upgraded their roster on the defensive side of the football this offseason, whether it be through some of the guys that they've signed or through this draft in which 8 of the 11 players they selected are on the defensive side of the football. But they're counting on a bunch of young players in important roles for the Cowboys into 2021 on the defensive side of the football. And make no mistake about it, the Cowboys will win a Super Bowl based on the strength of their offense. But they can certainly lose a bid to win a Super Bowl because of their defense. And that will all go back to the mistakes that they've made when it comes to drafting defensive players. Thanks for checking out today's video. Again, make sure to support my sponsor, betonline.ag, where Micah Parsons is right now the favorite to win the Defensive Rookie of the Year. And go check out the Super Bowl futures odds for the Cowboys. BetOnline.ag, your online sportsbook experts. And also, if you liked what you saw, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. And make sure to subscribe and ring the bell. That way you're always notified when I post a new video.